My name is Emily. I want to tell you a story about something small, but also something big. It started on a normal morning. I was sitting in my small apartment. The sun came in through the window. My coffee was warm in my hands. I felt calm. I felt quiet. Life was simple that day, or I thought so. I live alone now. This is new for me. Before, I lived with my ex-fiancé, Mark. We shared a house for 3 years. We shared a bed. We shared many things. But now, I live alone. I moved out 6 months ago. It was not easy. It was painful. It was scary. But I did it. That morning, my internet was not working well. The Wi-Fi was slow. Pages would not load. I tried to fix it myself. I turned the router off and on. I waited. I tried again. Still slow. I felt a little annoyed. Just a little. I had work to do. I needed the internet. So I decided to call my internet company. I picked up my phone. I took a deep breath. I called them. A man answered. His voice was calm and polite. He asked for my name. I said, "My name is Emily." He asked for my account details. I gave them to him. He started to check my connection. He said, "Please wait a moment." I waited. I looked around my apartment. It was small, but clean. A couch, a table, a lamp. Everything was simple. Everything was mine. Then he came back on the line. He said something that made my heart stop. He said, "I see you have a discount on your account. It is also active at another address." I frowned. I felt confused. I said, "Another address?" He said, "Yes. It looks like your employee discount is still being used at your previous address." My hands became cold. My heart beat faster. I did not speak for a second. I felt shocked. I felt confused. "My previous address?" I asked slowly. "Yes," he said. "The house on Oak Street." Oak Street. That house. That old life. My chest felt tight. I moved out of that house 6 months ago. I left that place. I left Mark. I left everything there. I never went back. I swallowed. I said, "I don't live there anymore." The man on the phone paused. Then he said, "Oh, I understand. Would you like me to remove the discount from that address and apply it to your current one?" I closed my eyes for a moment. My mind was spinning. So many thoughts came at once. Mark is still there. He is still in that house. And he is using my discount. I felt something inside me. It was not just surprise. It was anger. It was a quiet anger, a slow anger. I said, "Yes. Please remove it." My voice was calm, but inside I was not calm. As the man worked on the account, my mind went back. Back to the past. Back to the days with Mark. At the beginning, Mark was kind. He smiled a lot. He brought me flowers. He told me I was special. I believed him. I really believed him. But slowly, things changed. He started to get angry. Small things made him angry. If I was late, he got angry. If I forgot something, he got angry. Sometimes he hit the wall, hard. His fists were strong. The sound was loud. It scared me. It really scared me. I remember one night very clearly. I was tired. I did not feel well. I told him, "I don't want to be close tonight. I just want to sleep." But he did not listen. He got upset. He said I did not care about him. He said I owed him. Owed him. That word stayed in my mind for a long time. I felt afraid. I felt small. I said no again. I said no many times. But he kept pushing. He kept talking loudly. He made me feel guilty. That night, I cried quietly. I felt trapped. I felt alone. After that, things were never the same. I started to see him clearly. Not the man I loved at the beginning, but the man he really was. Angry, controlling, loud. I stayed for some time. I don't know why. Maybe I was scared. Maybe I hoped he would change. Maybe I was just tired. But one day, I decided to leave. I packed my things, slowly, quietly. I did not tell him at first. I found a small apartment. This apartment. My apartment. When I left, I felt many things. I felt scared. I felt free. I felt sad. I felt strong. Life after that was not easy. I work long hours. My job is stressful. Some days I come home very tired. Very, very tired. Also, I have a health problem. I need regular treatment. I go to the hospital often. The treatment makes me weak sometimes. I feel sick. I feel slow. But I keep going. I keep working. I keep living. Mark, on the other hand, has a very good job. He makes a lot of money. He always talked about money. He liked to say he was successful. He has no health problems. He has time. He has energy. And still, he used my discount. $10. Just $10. It is not about the money. Not really. It is about respect. It is about what is right. The man on the phone said, "Okay, I have removed the discount from the old address. I will now apply it to your current address." I opened my eyes. I looked around my apartment again. This is my life now. I said, "Thank you." He said, "You're welcome. Is there anything else I can help you with?" I paused. I thought about it. Was there anything else? No, but at the same time, yes. There was something inside me, something changing, something small but important. I said, "No, that's all." We ended the call. I put my phone down on the table. I sat quietly for a moment. The room was silent, very silent. I took a deep breath. He is still in that house, but I am not. And now, even something small, like that discount, is no longer his. I felt something new. Not anger this time, control. A small step. A very small step, but it mattered. I looked at my coffee. It was cold now. I smiled a little. Life is strange. Sometimes big changes come from small moments. And this was just the beginning. After I ended the call, I sat very still. The room felt quiet, but my mind was loud. Too many thoughts, too many memories. I looked at the wall. I looked at the floor. I did not move for a long time. I told myself, it's just a small thing. But it did not feel small. It felt important. It felt heavy. I stood up slowly and walked to the kitchen. I poured my cold coffee into the sink. The sound of the water was soft, calm. I liked that sound. It made me feel a little better. But then my phone buzzed. I froze. My heart jumped. Fast! Too fast! I looked at the phone on the table. It buzzed again. I walked closer, slowly. I did not want to look, but I had to. It was a message. From Mark. My chest felt tight again. My hands felt cold again. I did not open it right away. I just stared at his name. Mark. I whispered, "Why now?" I took a deep breath. Then I opened the message. Hey, did you change something with the internet? Short, simple, like nothing happened. Like everything was normal. I felt angry. I felt confused. I felt tired. Of course he noticed. Of course he did. I typed a reply. Then I deleted it. I typed again. Then I deleted it again. I did not know what to say. Finally, I wrote, "Yes, it's my account." I stared at the message. Then I pressed send. A few seconds passed. Then another message came. Why would you do that? I laughed. A small, quiet laugh. Not happy, not funny. Why would I do that? I shook my head. I felt something rising inside me. Not fear this time, something stronger. I typed again. I don't live there anymore. Send. He replied quickly. So? It's just a small discount. I closed my eyes. I felt tired again. So tired. There it was again, small. Everything was always small to him. My feelings were small. My pain was small. My voice was small. But to me, it was not small. I sat down on the couch. I held my phone tightly. I typed slowly. It's mine. I sent it. Then I put my phone face down on the table. I did not want to see his reply. Not now. Maybe not ever. I leaned back and looked at the ceiling. My heart was still beating fast, but I also felt something else. I felt brave. Just a little. I stayed like that for a while. Then I stood up and walked to the window. Outside, people were walking. Cars were moving. Life was going on. My life was going on. Later that day, I had to go to the hospital. It was my treatment day. I did not feel strong, but I went anyway. The hospital smelled clean, too clean. The lights were bright, too bright. I sat in the waiting room. Other people were there. Some looked tired, some looked worried. I understood that feeling. A nurse called my name. Emily! I stood up and followed her. The treatment room was quiet. Machines made soft sounds. Beep, beep, beep. I sat in the chair. The nurse smiled at me. She was kind. "How are you today?" she asked. I paused. Then I said, "I'm okay." But inside, I was not fully okay. As the treatment started, I felt the usual cold feeling in my arm. I closed my eyes. And again, my mind went back. Back to the house. Back to Oak Street. I remembered the kitchen, the table, the sound of Mark's voice when he was angry. I remembered how I walked on eggshells, quiet steps, soft voice, always careful. I remembered how I stopped laughing loudly. I stopped speaking freely. I was there, but I was not really living. I opened my eyes slowly. I looked at my hand. The needle was there. The machine was working. I am here now. Not there. Here. I whispered softly. I left. The words felt real, strong. After the treatment, I felt weak. My body was heavy. My head felt slow. But I still walked out of the hospital on my own, step by step. When I got home, the sun was going down. The sky was orange and soft. I liked that color. I sat on the couch again. I picked up my phone. There were more messages from Mark. I opened them slowly. This is stupid. You're being difficult. It's just $10. You always make things bigger than they are. I read each line, slowly. Then I put the phone down again. I did not cry. This time, I did not feel small. I felt clear, very clear. I spoke out loud, even though I was alone. It's not about $10. My voice was quiet but strong. It's about me. I took a deep breath. For so long, I gave him space. I gave him time. I gave him power. I stayed quiet. I stayed soft. But now, I was changing, slowly, step by step. That night, I made a simple dinner, rice and eggs, nothing special. But it was warm. It was enough. I ate slowly. I listened to the silence. No loud voice. No anger. No fear. Just me. After dinner, I washed the dishes. I cleaned the table. Small things, simple things. But they felt good. Before I went to bed, I checked my phone one last time. No new messages. I felt relief. I felt peace. I lay down on my bed. The room was dark. The blanket was soft. I closed my eyes. My body was tired, very tired, but my mind felt lighter. Today was not a big day, but it was also a big day. I took something back, something small, something important, and deep inside, I knew. This was not the end. This was just the next step. The next morning, I woke up early. The room was quiet. The light was soft. I stayed in bed for a few minutes. I listened to my breathing. Slow, in and out. I felt calm, but also a little heavy inside. Yesterday stayed in my mind. The call, the messages, Mark. I sat up slowly. My body felt tired again. The treatment always made me feel this way, weak, slow. But I told myself, it's okay, just go step by step. I said it again, step by step. I walked to the kitchen and made tea. Warm tea helps me feel better. I held the cup in my hands. It felt nice, warm and safe. I stood near the window and looked outside. People were walking again. Life was moving again. But my phone was on the table, quiet, still. I did not want to touch it, but I knew I had to. I picked it up slowly, no new messages. I felt a small relief, a small peace. But then, a few minutes later, it rang. I jumped a little. My heart beat faster again. I looked at the screen. Mark was calling. I froze. My fingers felt cold. My chest felt tight. I did not want to answer. I really did not want to answer. But part of me said, "You need to face this." I stood there for a few seconds. The phone kept ringing. Finally, I answered. "Hello?" My voice was soft. There was a short silence. Then his voice came. "Emily." Just my name, nothing more. I felt many things at once: fear, anger, sadness. I said, "What do you want?" He sounded annoyed. "Why are you acting like this?" I closed my eyes for a second. I took a deep breath. "I'm not acting," I said quietly. "Yes, you are," he said. "You changed the internet thing without telling me." I felt something rise in my chest again. "I don't need to tell you," I said. My voice was still calm, but stronger now. "You used my account," I added. He laughed. A short, cold laugh. "It's not a big deal," he said again. "It's just a small discount." That word again. Small. I felt tired of that word. Very tired. I said, "It matters to me." He was quiet for a moment. Then his voice became louder. "You always do this," he said. "You make everything a problem." I opened my eyes. I looked at the wall. I felt my heart beating fast again. But this time, I did not feel small. I said slowly, "No, I see things clearly now." There was silence on the phone. Then he spoke again, more serious this time. "You left," he said. "You already left. Why do you still care?" That question hit me hard. Why do I still care? I thought about it for a second. Then I answered, "Because I care about myself." The words felt strong, very strong. I held the phone tightly. "I don't want anything connected to you anymore," I said. My voice was shaking a little, but I kept going. No more shared things, no more shared accounts. Nothing. He let out a long breath. "You're overreacting," he said again. I shook my head, even though he could not see me. "No," I said. "I'm finally reacting the right way." There was a long silence. I could hear his breathing. Then he said something softer. "You've changed." I paused. "Yes," I said, and it was true. I had changed. Not all at once, not in one day, but slowly, step by step. He spoke again, but his voice was different now, less strong. "This is stupid," he said quietly. I did not answer. I felt something inside me, a door closing, slowly but clearly. Then I said, "I have to go." He did not stop me. "Fine," he said, and the call ended. I stood there for a moment. My hand was still holding the phone. My heart was still beating fast. But then, something strange happened. I felt light. Very light. I sat down on the chair. I put the phone on the table. I whispered, "I did it." My voice was soft but real. I faced him. I spoke. I did not stay quiet. That was new. Very new. Later that day, I went to work. It was a long day, many tasks, many emails, many problems. But my mind was different. I was focused. I was calm. A coworker asked me, "Are you okay? You look tired." I smiled a little. "I am tired," I said, "but I'm okay." And I meant it. During my lunch break, I sat alone. I ate slowly. I looked at my phone again. No messages, no calls. Silence. But this silence felt different. Before, silence felt scary. Now it felt peaceful. After work, I walked home slowly. The air was cool, the sky was gray. I liked the quiet. When I got home, I sat on this couch again. That same couch. But I felt like a different person. I thought about the house on Oak Street. I thought about the old life. And for the first time, it felt far away. Very far away. I was not there anymore. I was here, in my space, in my life. I stood up and walked around my apartment. I touched the table, the chair, the wall. Everything was mine. Simple, small, but mine. I smiled a little. That night, I wrote something in my notebook. I choose myself. I looked at the words for a long time. Then I wrote it again. I choose myself. Simple words, but strong. Very strong. I closed the notebook. I turned off the light. I lay down in bed. My body was tired again, but my heart felt steady. I closed my eyes. And before I fell asleep, I thought one last thing. This is not just about the past. This is about my future. And for the first time in a long time, I was not afraid of it. A few days passed after that call. Life became quiet again. Simple again. I woke up. I worked. I rested. Step by step. Day by day. Nothing big happened. But inside me, something was still changing. Slowly, gently. One evening, I was sitting on my couch with a blanket. I felt a little cold. The weather was cooler now. I had a cup of tea in my hands again. I liked this moment. Warm tea, quiet room, soft light. My phone was next to me. I looked at it. No messages, no calls. Mark was silent. At first, I thought he would keep calling. I thought he would argue more. I thought he would try to pull me back into his world. But he didn't. And that silence, it felt different now. It did not feel scary. It felt like space. It felt like peace. I took a deep breath. I leaned back on the couch. I closed my eyes for a moment. I'm okay, I whispered. And this time, I really meant it. The next week, I had another hospital visit. I walked in slowly, like always. The same bright lights, the same quiet sounds. Beep, beep, beep. I sat in the chair again. The nurse smiled at me again. You look better today, she said. I thought about that. I smiled a little. I feel better, I answered. And it was true. Not just my body, my mind, my heart. During the treatment, I did not think about Mark. That surprised me. Before, he was always in my thoughts, his voice, his anger, his words. But now, nothing, just silence. Just me. After the hospital, I decided to walk home instead of taking a ride. It was a long walk, but I wanted it. I needed it. The air was fresh. The sky was clear. People passed by me. Some smiled, some did not. I walked slowly, step by step. I looked at small things, trees, cars, a dog playing, a child laughing. Life felt simple again, and I liked that. When I got home, I felt tired, but it was a good kind of tired. I made dinner, something easy, soup and bread. I sat at the table and ate quietly. Then I looked around my apartment. Everything was still the same. But I was not the same. I stood up and walked to the mirror. I looked at myself. My face looked tired. My eyes looked soft. But there was something new. Strength. Quiet strength. I touched my face gently. "You did this," I said softly. My voice was calm. "You left. You spoke. You chose yourself." I smiled a little. That night, I checked my email before bed. There was a message from the internet company. "Your discount has been successfully applied to your current address." I read it twice. Then I laughed softly. Such a small thing, so small. But it meant something big. It meant that nothing was tied to him anymore. No house, no account, no connection, nothing. I closed my laptop. I sat on the bed. I felt free, really free. A few days later, I saw something unexpected. I was at a small store near my apartment. I was buying some fruit, apples and bananas. As I turned around, I saw someone at the door. My heart stopped for a second. It was Mark. He looked the same face, same walk. But he felt different. Or maybe I felt different. He saw me too. He paused. Then he walked toward me. My body felt tense for a moment, but I did not run. I did not hide. I stayed. "Emily," he said. His voice was not loud, not angry, just normal. I nodded. "Hi." There was a short silence. He looked at me. I looked at him. Then he said, "You look different." I thought about that. "I am different," I said. He nodded slowly. Another silence. Then he said, "About the internet thing, I overreacted." I was a little surprised, but I stayed calm. "It's okay," I said, and I meant it. Not because it was okay, but because I was okay. He looked at the floor, then back at me. "You're doing well?" he asked. I took a breath. "Yes," I said. "I am." Simple, clear. He nodded again. "Good," he said. Then he stepped back. "Well, take care," he added. "You too," I said. And that was it. No fight, no anger, no fear. Just two people going different ways. He walked out of the store. I stayed there for a moment, holding my apples, holding my breath. Then I let the breath go, slowly. I felt light again, very light. I paid for my fruit and walked home. The sky was soft again. The air was calm again. Everything felt right. That night, I opened my notebook again. I read the words I wrote before. I choose myself. I smiled. Then I added one more line. I will always choose myself. I closed the notebook. I turned off the light. I lay in bed. And I felt something very simple. Peace. Not loud, not big, just quiet peace. And before I slept, I thought about everything. The past, the pain, the fear, and the small moment, a phone call, a discount, a choice. Sometimes change starts with something very small. Very, very small. But that small step can lead to a big life. A better life My life. Moral lesson. Even small actions can have big meaning. When you respect yourself, others will learn to respect you too. It is okay to say no. It is okay to take back what is yours. And most important, it is okay to choose yourself.